All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are back, baby. That's right. The 2023 Mets are back. They're back in our lives because that fucking series was basically the perfect encapsulation of this goddamn season. Some games you could have won, some games where there were some moves that kind of fucked everything up. And then they win on Sunday just to give you a little bbit more hope to keep you going along, chasing the dragon in this fucking goddamn season. So it's me, your boy KFC. We got Meek Phil on the line today. And we had our first, we had a success. We had our first Barstool to Ballpark tailgate that we know about. It was in the parking lot, the Southfield parking lot. We burned the WBC jersey with the WC bag, the flash dance throw that Frank the Tank got. It was burned into the ashes. Mets lost that night, but it didn't matter. Had a good time. Hopefully do it again soon. Barstool the Ballpark record drops to 2-1 this year. So I'm pretty proud that we at least had an undefeated record in this godforsaken season to begin with. But it's back to the grind now, boys. And I walked away from that game, and I said it to you, Kev. I don't know if this is the season for the Mets.
I don't think this is it. I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we're not contenders for the World Series this year. I think we can say that. But god damn it, if it isn't the most, like, if that Max Scherzer start, I'm not kidding you. I know this is crazy. I would prefer that Max Scherzer start to not happen. It's not good for my health. Like, I'd rather win the game, but I would rather win like 6-5 and Max gave up. Yeah. I'd rather win like 6-5 and Max gave up 4 in the 6th inning like he always does. And like, we just know that, hey, Max just kind of sucks, rather than be like, this is what it could have been. We could go out there and beat the Dodgers fucking after 7 scoreless if you could have just done that more often. So every now and then there's these flashes, and they're not consistent enough to actually mean anything. There's so few and far between that it's just a tickle of the balls, and it's like the only thing stopping us from being like one of the worst teams in baseball. But it's not enough to, like, it's just enough to make you go like, fuck, this is what I thought we were going to have all year. So it's not completely gone. It is there. It's just not frequent enough to matter, which is maybe the worst thing of all. In all of sports, that no man's land is always the worst, right? Like, in a big picture, you'd rather either be winning or rebuilding. You never want to be in the middle. And then, like, the microcosm, I'd rather be, totally fucking out of it, where I don't have to torture myself and watch baseball every night and fret and worry. Or obviously, you'd rather just be in it. But this in between is just the fucking worst.
As a wise man once said, Kevin, let me tell you something, my friend. Hope is a dangerous thing. Mm-hmm. Hope can drive a man insane. Red from Shawshank said it best. And but what that hope does is it also keeps people from hanging on beams like Brooks did once upon a time. And our boy Meek Phil is back in the building. How we doing, Philip? Because he's kind of the one who's always on, Brooks watch, if you may.
Well, we scored 3 total runs in a series, and we didn't get swept, so that's an accomplishment, I guess.
I mean, what was what we were at, like 3 hits for like 18 innings or whatever the fuck it was.
And Nimmo had like 2 of them. So.
Yeah, thank God, worth every penny, Brandon Nimmo.
I think at one point Nimmo was like 2 for 8, and everyone else was like 2 for 46 or something stupid. And Luis Guillorme got the only hit with a runner in scoring position all weekend. After not getting a bunt down.
Yeah, couldn't get down the sacrifice 2 in a row, and then ends up getting the game-winning hit, just like the perfect encapsulation. It's like, what the fuck? Who cares? It's a goddamn win. But you said it best, Phil. Nimmo hitting that quote-unquote home run in the first inning of the first game of the series, gets overturned, turns a double, doesn't score, and you say,
don't get a hit the rest of the game.
Yep, that is a perfect, like, welcome back to the second half omen, just like,
dude, the fact that it was coming out of the break, like going into the break, we had a little bit of momentum. We're saying like it could, things could happen. And I think we said something like, we got to come out of the break and win like 6 in a row. That didn't happen. Let's just go ahead and say that didn't happen, and it's not gonna happen. I think, to me, the what I'm gonna refer to as the Brett Beatty game was one of the sneaky low points of the year. The Beatty ball. If I didn't have a podcast, I would have consulted on the Beatty ball. I have to just like trick myself into still caring enough to do the show every week. So I can't console. So I can't console professionally, so why would I console, in real life? But I mean, that ball, after seeing the 3D imaging of it, I don't want to give him a pass. But
I mean, that's what wind is. Like, wind has been around for hundreds of years.
Yes, I know, but it was not a windy night, and it was not like I feel like for a ball to have that trajectory is usually like at Wrigley Field on a windy afternoon when anything can happen. That did feel like a rogue ball just kind of like coming out of nowhere. I don't know whether I want to pin it on Beatty or pin it on like it's the Mets. Like I don't know. I've never seen a pop fly like do this corkscrew looping fucking Six Flags Great American Scream Machine thing. But that strikeout in the bottom of the inning, I know you guys were at the game. I mean, on television, like the balls were in his glove and his bat was going through the zone. I mean, it was like he was not even close and didn't even think about taking a pitch. Like he was just like, get me out of here. I want out of this fucking game. And then to have that ball, he dives, it bounces, it hits him as it, Lindor's just like walking away. It was just like, that was some true LOL Mets shit. The rest of the season has been like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been saying over and over that the main culprit to me is starting pitching. And because it's Verlander and Scherzer, especially Verlander, a guy that, we've never had any good memories with, on the team at least, I feel like a disconnect. You know what I mean? Like if we were losing because like Pete and Lindor and McNeil and all these guys who like were a part of it and really were like bombing and sucking, I think it would hurt a lot more. I'm almost just like, I don't know, we tried this experiment with these old guys and they couldn't hold up their end of the bargain, so fuck it. So I felt like almost like a disconnect to how much they've been losing because of that. But that Beatty game was like, one of these guys that we have hope for the future, and it's already really not seeming to work out. And then you kind of put the exclamation point on it, where it's like, not only is it not working out right now, but it might not be working out for the near future either with some of the guys we're banking on. So I don't know. That to me was another. Yeah, I mean, how many rock bottom moments have we had? We had 10, 12, 50? I don't know. That was brutal.
And it feels like we're still getting all the Metsy moments and the Beatty one was one of those where it falls, it drops, it hits him in the face. And for the people watching on the YouTube, I'm going to try to pull up the 3D graphic you were talking about.
I've never seen this before. I didn't know, they even like track.
I don't know. The thing is, like, we don't know if this is like a normal like thing. Like, how many pop-ups could have a 3D image like this?
I guess so. But it does seem like, what the fuck would, like, why would it do that? Like, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's a million fly balls like this and I'm the idiot. But I feel like, I don't know, we maybe would have seen them beforehand.
And it wasn't like a super windy night, like you said. We were in the stadium, and it was weird because like this fucking goddamn weather, it sucked balls for so long. I don't know.
The only rain delay where it rained as the game started, not before.
Yeah. There was no rain during the rain delay. It was as soon as they took the tarp off is when the rain actually started coming down. But it's you said it, Kev. I wanted to pose this question. I don't even know how to put it correctly, but like this isn't the worst Mets team I've ever watched. By far, right? We've seen some fucking dogs. I don't want to say, is it the most like, I don't want to say like unlikable because there's some likable guys here, guys that we loved, especially last year when they were winning. But it's like, I'm like the most indifferent because it does feel a little mercenary-ish, right?
Yes. It's the disconnect between Verlander and Scherzer are the main culprits. And those are guys that like, I started to fall in love with Max Scherzer a little bit, I never really fully fell for him. He's been here for a cup of coffee. I have not had a fuzzy feeling from Justin Verlander once. Even during his good outings, I was like, okay, well, like finally he did his job. I've not like, at least Max, when he did come over here, was a little bit endearing. Like he was like this guy who was going to lead us, and we kind of loved him.
And he also took over the ace role when DeGrom got hurt.
Yeah, he slid right in. And he battled through injury, and he also was, the ace on the most winningest team we've got to experience over the last, however long. So there was some good times with him, but not enough to really develop this love. I've never really had to defend him. Like over the years, I had to defend Jacob deGrom for being injury prone. I've defended Francisco Lindor for years. Guys like McNeil and Pete are like, they came up through our system, so we automatically love them. Guys like Nito and Guillorme, like even the lesser than players were like really likable. Diaz had this weird thing where he was bad and then became good, and we had to defend our fandom of him because we used to trash him and blah, 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 trumpets, all this shit. And it's like, Verlander it's just like, whatever, dude, we signed you. It didn't work. Like, okay. And Max is kind of the same thing where it's like, we gave you all this money. It didn't really work out. And now, it's almost, I can't believe it, but like last year is probably going to be a bad thing in terms of our like turnaround as a franchise, because if the years after Cohen bought the team just progressed normally and we kind of had to like be a last place team and bottom out and clear everything out and get turn the whole thing around, it would have been like, this is what we're doing. But this little taste of like what could have been now has everyone like, we need to win the World Series right now. And guess what, boys? It ain't coming anytime soon unless we stumble upon, 10 pitching prospects and 2 good free agents. Because how the fuck are we going to field a 5-man rotation in the coming years after these old guys, after we put them out to pasture? It's going to become more of a real rebuild, I think, unless Steve really goes on a spending spree and we hit on every single one. It's going to be a long time, no?
Well, yeah, that's what it's starting. Well, the 3 to 5, we're going to go more towards the 5 end of the spectrum right now for Stevie's timeline that he wanted to have.
Said that. Well, Clem, do you remember? I always go back to this. The day that the original Cohen signing, I was like, in the next 10 years, we're going to win a ring. Yeah. And we were like, yes, yes, in the next 10 years, we're going to win. And somehow we moved it up to 5. And then we went hyper warp speed because we had one good season and everyone expected it right away. And you know what? They did everything you should do to try to make that happen. The exact way they went about it is pretty much the only way you can do it, is sign short-term, high annual value contracts with proven players and hope they do their thing. And they didn't, and it didn't work out. And that sucks. But as a fan, whether it's a disconnect or not as emotionally attached or I don't know, whatever. Last year, I was like, it truly, literally dominated my life, my happiness, my unhappiness. I shed tears. I screamed. I fought every night, every pitch, every inning. This is just like, I don't know. It is the Mercenary effect, I think.
Yep. And luckily, there's a little partner we have that's going to get us through all this. And it is our Coors Light. Our Coors Light got us through all the high moments last year. And now it's getting us through the low moments where there's nothing. There's just a big empty void inside. You drink your Coors Light, the Blue Mountains go right down, and it turns my belly into a big old Blue Mountain, and it makes me chill out inside. Like we always talk about, get you that retirement kind of vibe, that kind of just retirement frame of mind. That's what you kind of want here. Nothing but Blue Mountains and blue skies in goddamn Mets land, where the rain is always coming down, which it's been coming down like every goddamn day here in New York. Even tonight, man, the camp got canceled like 3 times last week. So I'm like, I need the Coors Lights just to get through the days with the kids at home. So the mountains on the bottles and cans even turn blue when your beer is cold, so you know when it's time to grab another. Perfect for all your summer plans or lack thereof. No judgment here. The fall plans might be a little bit more football related than we just lost KFC to the blackout in the room. So KFC can grab himself a nice cold Coors Light and chill out at All Business Pete's Fun House. Once again, comes up lame for us here. This summer, chill like you retire with Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And again, Coors delivered on that tailgate. It was an awesome time for everyone involved. We had cornhole. We had the big old tent out there. Frank the Tank burning his stuff. Frank came over just like before, as we were still setting up. It was just all of us there, and he just somehow, like the Friday night game came up, and he just audibly starts Frank the Tanking, and like Mets fans just start like coming over. It's like it was like honestly, it was like fucking watching Noah just bringing in the animals. It was crazy. And, like
the Pied Piper,
Pied Piper, yeah, exactly. And then I saw during the game too. Did you see Frank was screaming during the game, and Jenks had to literally sit him back down in his seat? And I'm like.
He was Sean McVay's hold me back guy, pretty much.
Exactly. So get your Coors Lights to not turn yourself into a Frank the Tank, as this team is prone to do. So the last series, the Dodgers series, I don't know, man. Like, it was annoying. I would have rather them lose like 10-1 and just be bludgeoned instead of like those first two games. And then, like you said, almost feeling like Max, I just want to just have him I could just bury Max, right? But now going into this next series against the White Sox, it's like, all right, I'm back in.
And also, he like didn't do it early enough or frequent enough to even be a trade piece. Like, it's like it's the perfect storm to just tickle your balls and not impact the team in a positive way, either with wins or a trade. It's just enough to make you go, what could have been? It's so fucking annoying, man.
Now you said with last year's team, how like it almost like they arrived early and it kind of screwed up the whole timeline. I don't know how I would love to know how much like Cohen would have went in this year if it was like an 86-win team last year,
right? And
how it would have progressed. I mean, everyone would have viewed Buck differently, right? Buck, if he had 86,
we still would have lost so many guys, though. That's the thing. Like
that's true. So many
pending free agents.
But this happened in 2006, and you hear it a lot too. When 05, it was like, all right, we're building. And then 06 came. And again, it was not even the team was like that awesome. It was like the NL East also sucked too. So you were just in the driver's seat. We didn't have a 2022 Braves that were just motherfucking us every goddamn day. So do you think like that's kind of the same thing where they arrived early? Now, I don't know. Like this isn't 2007. I'm almost happy this won't be a 2007. You could almost say last year was 2007.
Well,
by kind of losing it at the end there. And
so to compare it to that 2000s team, 2005 they won like 85 games. Pedro came in, and it was like a good turnaround. And it was like, hey, we might have something for the future here. And then they went, 97 wins out of nowhere, hyperdrive. And then from there on, 07, 08 was like, we're just one piece away. Let's go get like K-Rod. Let's go get Moises Alou. We just need to patch these little holes, when in reality, it was probably like, no. Everything just really, really clicked that one season. And next year, you're going to have some regression. You're going to have some injuries. Sound familiar? It's exactly what happened here, because out of nowhere, we were a 100-win team. Nobody fucking expected that. We were on pace. If it wasn't for a bad September, we're going to win like 110 games. That was never that. There are two things. That was like never really probably going to be sustainable. But then, like Phil said, you know why this year's team is different than last year's team? It's a whole different fucking team. Like, and I was, thumping my chest thinking Steve Cohen did such an amazing job he replaced one ace with another. He let go all of these pitchers who turned out, if you look at their numbers, they weren't pitching well. And we brought in all these other guys. And some of them are wins. I think Senga, we can definitively say, was a good move. And letting Bassett go and letting Ty Walker go and was all like, it was the smart move. But whether you replace them successfully or don't replace them successfully, like, it's a wildly different team. And then things like chemistry and, responsibilities change. And then you have an injury here and there. And it's like, no fucking wonder we're not going to win 100 games. Top to bottom, there's only like 4 guys who are doing the same job.
Like, you could pay $350 million over. The players have to perform. Like,
right.
We all thought this was a good team back in December, January.
Right. That's why I hate the fucking Epler hate. I'm not gonna crown him anything either, but it's like everyone was all good with this going into it, and what happened is they didn't perform. If they, on paper, you have 2 aces, a Japanese superstar, you had another back end guy. He gets injured. He struggles a little bit to start. These 2 stink. Like, that's.
The ironic part is he probably made more good signings this offseason than bad ones if you really dig deep into it. Like Tommy Pham, you hit on that. David Robertson, you hit on that. Kodai Senga, you hit on that. David Robertson, you hit on that. I don't know if I said them already. Brooks Raley.
But how many good moves? How many moves do you make in a year anyway? Let alone have that many good ones. And then the pitchers you did let go. it's not like they became
Yeah, you
superstars.
get Justin Verlander for Jacob deGrom, who's not pitching till 2026 probably. Like, who knows?
Right. Like, all of those are good moves. It's just that put it this way. If they were winning, nobody would be saying, boy, Epler's lucky they're playing good because he was really suspect this offseason. They're really saving his ass. No, they would just be like, yeah, it's a good team that he put together. They'd be sucking his dick. Epler mode, the whole nine. So it's nothing other than you've gambled on some guys, you expected some things, and you lost the gamble. Things didn't go as expected, and you got some, bad luck mixed in there. But it's pretty fucking black and white, Now then you sprinkle in the Braves decide to, still be the Braves again.
Just have 0 bad players on our roster.
Never a bad game, never a bad day. Probably more impressive than last year, which I didn't even think was possible. And then the Phillies, who are now the Phillies, should give us hope because they did exactly what we need to do, which is like they were several games under 500, and then they just ripped on they win, play 750 ball for like 50 straight games, and next thing you know, you're right back in it. That should make us go like, dude, look, it can happen. And it's not even like the Phillies are historically, if the Cardinals did it, it's like, yeah, well, those teams always play well, but the Phillies are like, right next to us as far as like LOL shit. And so we should be saying, hey, here's the blueprint. But it feels like even that's like, no, the Phillies are capable of that, and we are not. It's just,
I don't know how long I've been saying, well, if you win 11 out of 13, just go on a run like that, like they did, and we can barely even go like 6-4.
I was going to say, 11 out of 13 would be, impossible.
Like, yeah, you have to sweep the White Sox, you have to take 2 out of 3 versus the Red Sox, sweep 2 from the Yankees, take another 4 from the Nats.
What do you think is your drop dead date, if already? Like, even if we, and I'm not talking mathematically, I'm just talking like logically here. Even if we start to go on a tear, would you be like, it's just too little too late?
It sucks because that whole September, we play the D-backs, the Marlins, the Phillies, all teams that we're kind of fighting with.
Yeah.
If you cut to like 5 at the start of September, like, yeah, you have a chance, but like, they haven't shown us anything they can cut it to 5.
Yeah. What's it at now? I haven't even looked.
8.5. So
I was gonna say 9.5. So
that's a positive.
That's where you cut it to 5, you have a chance.
Well, baseball is so weird because there's just enough examples throughout history of like 69 Mets making up 10 games in a month, the Red Sox blow a 10-game lead, the 07 Mets, like there are cases. I guess those are always like a division crown where it's one team versus, several for the wild card. Not everyone's going to collapse together. But the point is, like you said, a good week for you and a bad week for a couple teams can cut it from 8 to 5 like that. Like 1 week that can happen. And then all you need to do from there is play well. So it feels like it's just always somewhat possible, but the play on the field and the sample size at this point, like that has not happened yet. It has not even come close to happening. So why is it all of a sudden going to happen right now?
Yeah. Like, I mean, we've been saying for like 2 months, like get to 500, and they just can't even do that.
Yeah. Phil said it after the game. He's like, all right, just need 7 more of these, and we're and I'm like, God damn it, Phil. Like, I can see, because we just had the first winning streak, and I'm like, is there going to be another one of those? We just had that winning streak right before the break. I mean, and just the way they just completely.
And the fact they have the White Sox coming to town, an awful team like that, it's like maybe then it's like not those
right.
2 out of 3 probably.
You look at the schedule or the matchups, and it's like, well, Verlander does pitch well, and then Max does, and all of a sudden you just sound like an idiot.
It's not like, oh, we have the Braves coming into town this week,
dude, and even when we had faced those teams, like we always played those games pretty fucking tight. It's
we just blew them.
Yeah, I mean, even the Dodgers, it's like we're close games. The first one was not, but like everything else is a close game. Could have won the series. Could have this, could have that, and it's just they just don't.
And with the Dodgers in town, I have to we mentioned this last episode, Kev, when we weren't on. It has to be said again, though. And again, we handled our part. We burned our shit. Frank burned his shit. Kyle's gonna burn his positive vibes only hat. Jeff McNeil needs to buy, or Francisco Lindor needs to buy Jeff McNeil a fucking car. I was losing my mind about it. And like Jeff McNeil is almost like the epitome of what the Mets are, where it's like, should be good, was good last year, was awesome last year, batting champion, and is just inexplicably awful this year. Yeah. And the fact that the car has not been bought, and we are all Francisco Lindor guys. This was my biggest beef with Frank back in the day when he didn't honor the bet. You make a bet, you honor it. If you don't have any honor, and I do not respect you. That's just the way it is. That's burnt up with the bet. Me and Frank are cool now. Either Francisco Lindor can burn like a $30,000 car, or you give it to Jeff McNeil. Whatever he can do to just make this good with the baseball gods, it has to be done. I saw he's on Mookie Betts' podcast, and he's fucking laughing about it. He's laughing, saying it's my wallet. I'm like, Francisco, man, this game, it's not about who has the best hitters. It's about the juju.
Yes, it really is.
I'd laugh by like, oh, it's his wild. Like if he was making like minimum, like no, he's like the third highest contract in baseball.
Bro, Lindor could legitimately.
He could buy 12 cars.
He could lose like probably three. He could definitely lose like $300,000 and not even know it happened. He could probably lose like $3 million and not even know it happened. He could definitely afford $30,000. What is it, like a fucking Kia that we have to buy? I'll buy the fucking car and I'll give it to Lindor to give to him just so we can get this thing over with. It's my wallet. Fuck you, man. Buy the goddamn car.
Based on his average plate appearances, he's going to make $47,000. This is according to, what is this, risingapple.com. He makes $47,000 per plate appearance. He makes a car.
An at-bat.
Decked out fucking sick car per at-bat.
Just buy the fucking car, dude.
Just buy the car, man. It's not even for you. It's so that
and you know what the problem
makes
is?
Everyone better.
If we were just bringing this up and it was kind of this funny thing, whatever, but it's been brought up. That's the problem. It's not even that you didn't deliver on the bet. It's that people are talking about how you didn't deliver on the bet. Hey, where's that car, man? And you're openly saying, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's when the bad juju comes in. Because there are plenty of bets that get made. Like, for instance, I'll just throw out hypothetically, when Big Ev shaved his face and turned into an absolute creature, no one on the planet Earth would have begrudged him for not delivering on that. Because it was just like a throwaway comment, and nobody really cared, and we know he's not a Denver Nuggets like fan or hater. It was just a thing that you say. The same way that, you might just say, hey, man, you do that, I'll buy you a car. It's when people put you to the fire and you still say no, that's when you start fucking with the atmosphere and the juju and the mojo. And so if you're going to talk about it, you got to do it. My wallet. Get out of here.
I'm going to share the little clip here we got here from Twitter.
Buying your teammate a car for personal accolades.
I'm on for it.
Okay, so you said you would get Neil a car for the batting title.
Yeah, I will get a car. It's just a matter of what car I'm getting. Yeah, that's the question. What car am I gonna get my teammate for winning batting title?
Yeah. So when are you? I think the fans out there, and myself, we're trying to figure out, when is he gonna do this? When are you thinking about doing this?
I don't know.
Just whatever.
It's my wallet.
Okay.
And when is this? This is July 15th.
So,
this is on the Mookie Betts podcast. I'm based with Mookie Betts Bleacher Report. This is
it's gonna happen. When it's gonna happen
at some point, though.
Yeah.
So then, if it's gonna happen, just make it happen now, because we can cross that off the list.
Okay.
Maybe that's
you didn't specify.
He's saying it might be a Hot Wheels. It might be you get him a fucking car. He has a child. Get him a nice.
I want him a Fisher Price car for his kid or something.
I want this fucking. I'm talking. This has to be a legit car. Has to have 4 actual tires on it. Has to have airbags everywhere. We're a family. I want it like 5-star rating from JD Power and Associates. Whoever the fuck rates these goddamn things. I want 4-wheel drive. A minivan. Buy Jeff McNeil a minivan for his growing family and just fucking be right with it. You could probably get it from who is like the the Mets have had a car sponsorship for years. Who's like one of the guys that we've heard?
Yeah, one of these fucking, go down to Palmer Ave and say my name and you get a discount sort of thing.
Kia Sophia, whatever the fuck it is.
There's plenty of fucking guys. He doesn't even have to do it. Like, just have one of your go-getters just go buy a car, take your wallet and go do, honestly, all jokes aside, it does actually make me think that there's still like a rift between those two guys. Because if it was like Javi Baez, you know that he would be rolling out like a tricked out car that Javi's always wanted, and they would have turned it into content and made it a thing. And instead, it's like, yeah, that was just that funny thing I said to that white boy who I can't stand. that to me is kind of a microcosm for the whole thing. It's just not clicking. It's just not working. They're just not there, man.
It's just not there.
I mean, you brought up Javier Baez's name. Do you want to take a guess what his OPS is right now?
I saw his OPS plus on Twitter this morning, and I almost threw up.
What is it?
Because it's 100 is like average.
Yeah.
And it's 63, right? His
OPS plus is down to 60.
Holy shit. What's up, Frank?
I'm not here to be confrontational or
Nope.
anything.
We're good, Frank. We're good. Welcome to the show, pal.
You're going to
We're on
love
the
this.
same page.
Let me get on camera.
Yep.
Okay, so we went to Jersey on Saturday. I got a strongly worded warning from the New York Mets yesterday at my ticket rep. I could possibly get banned from the stadium if I ever do something like that again.
Really?
I was thinking about that because
I wanted to say.
we were
That's what gets Frank on the watch list after all the stunts he pulls in the game.
Unlike fucking Francisco Lindor, buy him the fucking car, Lindor.
Yeah,
That's right, Frank. That's right, Frank.
Dude, that is so funny because in the group chat we were like, Frank's got to burn the jersey. How can we do it? And I was kind of like, I don't know, just throw it on the fucking ground and set it on fire. I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. And then I started thinking it through. I was like, yeah, they definitely are not gonna want that to happen. You know what that reeks of to me? That is like for the last couple years, Frank the Tank has been an absolute menace to that franchise. And you know that somebody in the PR department or the security or somebody has been like, can't we just fucking get this guy out of here? And there's somebody going, he's not violating any of the rules. He's a paying customer. He's just voicing his opinion. It's his platform. He's not actually doing anything wrong. And the lawyers and shit are just waiting. And like, there it is. We got him. He's setting shit on fire. Now we got him. I'm surprised it wasn't a one strike and you're out offense.
That's like getting Capone for tax evasion, getting Frank the Tank for lighting a jersey on fire, an open flame in the parking lot, which, by the way, we had our resident pyro family, the Meek family. They had some lighter fluid to help to make sure the jersey went up. And there was like an extra grill they had laying around. So
I was nervous. The way he did it is kind of the like I went through this when I burned my hat. I was like, I don't want this like blowing up in my face. So I'm going to he kind of did it the other way around. He lit it last. Like you got to get everything set and then kind of blow it up with, and it did a quick burst. And I was like, Frank, you're not the guy to be, in a situation where you got to move quickly away from danger. Yeah. Could have been a lot worse. Wait, did he say a letter or they email him or did he get a fucking letter?
Oh, that would be great if they got like a legitimate snail mail physical letter.
Dear Frank Fleming.
Or like someone DM'd at NJTank99 and it's just like the official at Mets account.
Or it's somebody else and Frank got duped,
Yeah,
it's
which happens like on the regular.
Capital I saying don't ever do that again.
It's nice being like me and Frank have squashed the beef now. It's nice I can actually like communicate with him via DMs. We can actually talk and hash this stuff out now. And at this point, like I can live with him motherfucking a team that is absolutely worth motherfucking, not a team that is on its way to winning 101 games. So
that's like my big thing last year was like you're trashing on these guys who are, I mean, last year's team was so lovable. Not even likable, lovable, all of them. Lindor was the only guy that we argued about money. Everyone else who was making big bucks was like earning it or deserved it. And then there was a bunch of overachievers and they had swagger and they had inside jokes. And it was like, these guys, I love them. Why are you trashing them? This is like, you can say whatever the fuck you want about Justin Verlander. I don't give a shit, man. I have no loyalty to that guy. And he, not like in a bad way. It's just like, it was going to be a year where Verlander fell off, and of course, it's in a Mets uniform because that's just how it goes.
Yep. So, Will, I think I imagine people are going to want us to talk like, who do you want? I've seen it just all across like Mets Twitter, Reddit, whatever it may be. which guys are untouchable, which guys do you want to move. At this point, I think it's pretty wide open, but I at least want to see like the next week play out, and I'm sure the front office is going to want to see that. So I'd say like around like the 31st, a little before then, we'll talk about, which players we'd want to move, what we want to get for them. Uncle Stevie eats some of the money and get some prospects back. So I think that'll be the case for then.
It's always funny seeing people say it's like, oh, I want to trade everybody except for all these good players.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
By the Papa Clem,
when at the deadline, when they're like, why can't we just go get Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Juan Soto? I don't get it. Yeah, it's not fucking.
And then they say like, oh, we trade all these prospects for this player. It's like, well, you want it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
I would say untouchable. There's like, in my mind, like so few untouchables.
Alvarez is the untouchable.
Alvarez is untouchable.
yeah.
In terms of like Lindor, his contract's not going anywhere. Nemo, his contract's not going anywhere.
I would say Lindor is untouchable because it's just logically speaking. If there was some world where like we could trade him for like a Juan Soto or I don't know, then I would go for it. But yeah, so like I think him and Nemo are like locked in. They're not going anywhere. As far as the rest, like who you got?
Are you trading Pete at his lowest value like ever?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I guess for as much as I really do believe Frank brought this up a couple weeks ago in the idea of like if you're not going to be going for it, like truly let's blow it up and get as many prospects as you can. I think you're right. You'd be like kind of trading at his lowest. B, being a first baseman and all that, I don't know what kind of haul he really would return. I think that the haul you would get would not justify the PR imagery of like, this was your guy. He came up through the system, set the rookie record, has hit the most home runs in baseball since he came up. Like, and you're just going to just move, you know what I mean? Like, you do need some sense of stability, and we pay our guys, and homegrown, we value that. So, like, Pete's got to be a part of the future, unless he's like, I want, $450 million or something crazy. But I would say, like, Lindor, Nemo, Pete, McNeil is like, I don't know if there is any value, but at this point, we've been around for a while. We've seen what he is. We've seen what he isn't. We probably know the rest of his career is going to be a mishmash of those ups and downs. I don't think we've like got like this new flip the switch. It's like almost like an anti-Daniel Murphy, where it was like Murph just like went off. Like I think it's just like no, he's going to be good sometimes, bad sometimes. I don't know. There's just nobody. I guess Diaz, the guy's not even here, would be the only other one I would keep just because of the potential of him being back to what he was. But other than that, man, who would you say you have to keep?
No, there's nobody.
Right.
And there's no point in trading Beatty. You're not going to trade this guy away. He's a fucking baby in itself, which again, the great Brett Beatty, who is going to fix all our problems, the first month of the season, which we didn't looking back, there were no problems the first month of the season. We were fucking
done,
living good. It's like
be the lesson that it always proves true. Like the list of highly touted prospects that pan out, it just like rarely ever does, guys. Like
unless you're like the Dodgers or the Orioles or the Braves.
I think that's much more, and maybe I'm just spin zoning it, but like that, those are teams, at least the Dodgers, Braves, Astros. I'm not quite sure about the Orioles, the Rays we know like a full system in place that is highly touted and has been praised for years. And it's like whereas the Mets, it's always been like, we got this one guy and he's coming and he's going to be amazing. Not like, we've been spending international money and we've been, analyzing this, that, and the other thing. And we have like 5 or 6 people coming through the ranks and we think 2 or 3 of them are going to be big league ready and going to make an impact. It's always been like all of our apples in 2 or 3 bags. eggs in baskets, whatever, apples in bags, and that never fucking works. You know, if this was 5 years from now when we know that Cohen implemented this, you know, like has a true modernized franchise, it'd be a different story. But up until right now, it's the lasting millage effect, where it's like, it's probably, you know, the guys you think that are going to be good are probably not going to be what you expect.
Yeah, and like we kind of got spoiled with David Wright and Jose Reyes back in the day, and it's like if they do pan out, it could be a little while. But it's like, again, April, what were we even complaining? And every fan base complains, even like the positive fans complain. I completely understand that, but Brett Beatty, not the solution. Neither was Vientos, it turns out. Hey, Alvarez might have maybe gotten that extra game last year, and maybe we go to just straight to the LDS. He never goes. But I am not going to fucking Doctor Strange that and look at all the different fucking variations.
Okay, honestly though, let's break that down. If you hit at 1 out of every 3 of your prospects, like this little crop did, you know, I'd sign for that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, so that's kind of how it plays out. You have these 3 guys coming up. Chances are one of them will be good, and you hope that it's like really good, and it looks like it really might be with Alvarez. But you know, did you think that after putting like Pete and McNeil into the big league team, you thought that the next 3 that were coming were also going to be good, and that, you know, the last 5 or 6 prospects were all going to be major league players that can you know, contributed? Like, no, it's just not how it goes. Again, unless you're one of those teams.
Yeah, unless you're one of those goddamn teams. All right, so since we're just going to be fucking running this segment or this show basically for the next month until this fucking team, or I guess, what is it, next 2 weeks before the deadline, and then God knows what we'll be doing in August, September. What we're going to do, we're going back to the grid, boys. We're going back to the grid. And the grid is brought to you by the Barstool Sportsbook. Boom, there it is. The brand spanking new Barstool Sportsbook. Fancy layouts here, looking nice. What is our bets of the day here? We got some Barstool bets. Let's see. Those are always my favorite bets on the Barstool book. We're supporting the boys. Yeah. Oh, the Rubbin' is Racing Gang. Oh, Large and Spider. We got the Crayon 301, Kyle Larson or Joey Logano to win the race. I always like betting Joey Logano. Why? Because he's like that motherfucking Joey Langone, that son of a bitch. Fuck Joey Langone. That was our motto on the Podfathers for years. I saw they have some boosts in the book. If you go check it out, they have. I don't know if they have it today. They didn't have it last week. They basically made their own BEC on us. So check the boost tabs. Those are always my favorite ones. Get a little extra, you know. Sprinkle a little extra coin on your money there if you can. So check out the Barstool Sportsbook today. Download and sign up for the Barstool Sportsbook today. Terms apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, I'm going to go share the screen. For everyone listening on the pod, if you're listening to this on Tuesday, you will not be able to play this along with us, but you can make the little grid up top from left to right. We got the Texas Rangers, the Washington Nationals, and 200 or more strikeout season pitching. And then on the left, we have the Houston Astros, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Gold Glove winner. That's all we have here. Phil.
I'm so shockingly bad at these.
So Phil has already done it, obviously.
I do mine at midnight every night.
You're such a freak, dude.
I usually, if I'm awake,
it's the only thing I look forward to.
If I'm awake, I'll look at it. I'll like put in a couple easy ones, or I'll just let it marinate throughout the day. And inevitably, like I have like 3 blank spots by the end of the night. I'm like, I'm just not going to win this.
The only thing I can usually do, I can't remember who plays for all these teams. The only thing I can usually do is just the performance accolade.
Okay.
So like Verlander for Houston, was that say 200 Ks in a season?
Do we think he definitely had 200 more strikeouts?
That's this is where I always suck. Usually like right off the bat.
He won 2 Cy Youngs there.
What's that?
Yeah, he won 2 Cy Youngs there.
Right, but there are usually times where I'm like, yeah, no, this guy definitely like did this or that, and then it's like, no, he didn't. He had like 199, you dumbass. But he's got to have it, right?
Should I pull the trigger? Should I pull the trigger on Verlander? Do we want to go with like Nolan Ryan?
Oh, yeah. All right. That's probably safer because he has 1 billion strikeouts.
Yeah, he probably has a 300K season for them. There we go.
Look at that picture of Nolan there. It kind of looks like Mark Hanna. Could Nolan Ryan be Mark Hanna's illegitimate father? Is that? I don't know if the years add up on that. 200 strikeouts, 200 plus Ks for the Dodgers.
So many great pitchers to choose from there.
Yeah. So do you go Kershaw?
And by the way, these are always, you have to do it with that team, or just like you played for the Dodgers and you did it?
I think you have to do it with the team.
Gotta do it for the Dodgers. I think so.
So yeah, Kershaw.
Let's see. For a team and season stat, they must have recorded that stat on the team. All right. So who do we have? We have Kershaw. We have Koufax. We have I don't think Hershiser did it. We talked about it. We had a big Oral Hershiser conversation, Kev, at the game.
Yeah,
Me and Clemmer were talking some Oral Hershiser, and Kyle told me that Oral Hershiser had an arcade amusement park thing, like a little arcade in Long Island, and he said it was like his the money he made off of that. I guess he had some mansion with a ton of acreage, and they sold to a retirement home. It's like all that money came from that arcade game. Kyle had 6 birthday parties in a row there. So shout out to the Oral Hershiser fucking arcade that they had out in Long Island. But I don't think Hershiser did it. Do we go Hideo Nomo? Did he get 200? Did he sneak in 200 Ks there at some point?
Did Fernando Mania have 200?
Fernando's another good one. Fernando's another good one. Again, this is kind of the segment I talked to you about before this season. I'm like, let's just name guys and just basically
talk about guys.
Also, I love that Baseball Reference bought this. I'd love to know. Do we know how much they bought the grid for?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's like when Wordle went to the New York Times.
Exactly. And when it's done now, you can click on a link and it'll tell you all the different guys that fit into each team, which is cool.
Very cool.
All right. So 200 plus strikeouts for the Dodgers. Phil, who should we go with?
Do you want the guy I used this morning, or?
Yeah, because tell us what you'd make. It's probably something bizarre.
I put Chad Billingsley.
You sick motherfucker. You put Chad Billingsley down?
No, my reasoning for that is because I remember an old John Heyman tweet. I'll actually pull it up. Kershaw may be regressing faster than Billingsley. Not sure. Close competition. Hashtag how can Brad Penny be better than both? And I just knew Chad Billingsley. 200 Ks for the Dodgers, and he also had a home run off Bartolo Colon when he was a Philly. So
0.6%.
Just crazy, man.
That's like Phil said it something. He's like a lot of historically great pitchers in the Dodgers, and he chose.
And when
Chad
after I do the grid, I usually look at okay, what could other options have been? So, and I saw it's maybe 50 200 K seasons for that franchise.
Okay, so
now Gold Glove and 200 Ks.
That's tricky because my Gold Glove pitcher, I always go Maddox, and I don't know.
Me too. That's so funny to think of that. I mean, he won it a dozen years in a row. He had to have had 200.
We got Pavsy in here.
I gotta go on for this one. R.A. Dickey.
Oh,
did he win the Gold Glove?
The following year after his Cy Young year.
And did he have 200 K his Cy Young year because he had the knuckling?
Yeah, he had 200 Ks during his Cy Young year, and then he had a Gold Glove the following year. I don't know.
Wow,
wow.
0.7. I fucking believe, boys.
Good one.
All right. Okay, so now we have Texas, Houston, Texas, LA.
I can't even think of who on the Rangers won a Gold Glove. How do these things stay in your guys' brains? I have no fucking idea.
I would have been so much better at this 10 years ago. My brain has become mush since. It's usually
I'll also say this: playing baseball video games also helps around the league too.
Whenever I see Colorado Rockies or Diamondbacks, I honestly just close the grid out and I go, I'm out for today because I just know I don't have enough guys in my brain.
It's so funny. There really is a prime. I really believe there's a blogging prime. When you're in your 20s and you're old enough to have some history on your belt, young enough to remember it, young enough that you still consume every game and every stat and don't have to worry about anything else. I mean, we probably could have. Yeah, I'm sure Phil rips through these in 5 minutes, right? 5
Chad
seconds.
Billingsley,
just about, yeah.
Well, and Pavs, I mean, that's a sick fucking pull with R.A. Dickey. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
it makes me kind of sick.
Would Maddox is striking at 200, right?
He was an answer, yeah.
Yeah, he was an answer. Okay. I don't even live on the pod here. I don't want to just keep spitting out guys. It's was Guzman a Gold Glover for the Nats or Michael Young for the Rangers? A-Rod, did A-Rod win for the Rangers?
Who's the best Washington National you could think of that played there for so many years?
Rendon was good at third.
Was Bryce Harper a Gold Glover?
Think about who was there.
Who's the Chad Billingsley of the Nationals, Kev? He's clearly fucking with us right now.
Fucking dickhead.
This guy was drafted by the Nationals.
Strasburg?
Good friends with David Wright.
Oh, Zimmerman.
Nice. That's a good one.
He's the most popular answer for this just because there's so many Expos guys I just don't even care about.
Yeah, Expos do count for this, by the way. Expos do count for the Nationals. My buddy Palladino figured that one out. He had Gary Carter as his National/Met. Man, this isn't very good radio because I am completely lost with the four teams.
Let's go with some easy ones like Dodgers Nats. Pretty recent trade there.
Oh yeah, so we got Turner. We have Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is our Mets podcast. We'll throw Scherzer on there. Let's see, Nationals, Astros. I will go to the chat, see what the chat is saying, see if they're saying anybody here too. No one in the chat has anything yet. Adrian Beltre for Gold Glove for the.
That was the only one I thought of. Does he have one?
He probably has a few, I think.
Yeah.
I went with IKF for that one just because I knew he was like a platinum Gold Glove winner.
And that's to the best overall fielder is platinum.
Yeah.
Yep. Rangers, Dodgers. I have the same guys that go in my head for every time I see the Rangers. I think Chris Young, and he's never like an answer for.
There was a free agent signing 2 years ago. Shortstop went from Dodgers to Rangers. Pretty good now.
Yeah.
Seager?
Yeah.
I went with Neftali Feliz for that one just because I remember he pitched like maybe 6 innings with the Dodgers.
Neftali Feliz. When I see those, I kill myself because like Billingsley was my dude back in fantasy back in the day. So that's how I was like, again, if I was 10 years younger.
Yeah, dude, if you don't play fantasy, I don't know any of these fucking guys.
Rangers, Astros, and Rangers.
Like Texas, connect, we played for both teams sort of thing.
Hunter Pence we got from the chat from Jake Morano.
Okay.
All right.
Hunter Pence.
I went with Carlos Gomez on this one.
Oh, someone hit me up the other day and goes, how did you not do Carlos Gomez for, it was like Mets, Astros? And I'm like, oh my God. He was the center of our lives for like a month.
When the Mets are on the grid, it's just like a cheat code, honestly.
Yeah. I can get the 0.6%ers on the Mets. And then last but not least, Astros, Nationals.
Guy that gave up the home run to Howie Kendrick in Game 7. You know that pitcher at all?
No.
Astros, Nationals. Astros. I always have Lidge in my mind whenever I see the old Astros, but it's usually Phillies, but it's
nowhere. I remember
lights out Lidge.
Dude, when Brad Lidge absolutely fucking sucked, but then got absolutely untouchable, it was one of the worst things ever happened. That Pujols home run was one of the coolest things that's ever happened in sports. That ball went 8. If that was not in an indoor building, I think gone into orbit. I think it would have never landed. That fucking home run killed him.
The Pettit when he goes, "Oh my fucking God!"
Yeah.
That was one of the most incredible
There's a foreign Met you could use for this one. Pitched in a playoff game for us.
Astros, Nats, Mets playoff pitcher.
What playoff?
2006.
Ollie?
Yep.
Ollie was on the Astros?
Ollie's kind of a cheat code too because he's been on, half.
He's been for so many teams.
Yeah.
All right. So there is a cheat code that I sometimes will try to avoid him. Is this an Edwin Jackson potential one? Because I feel like he is kind of the.
Let's go. Let's try it.
Yep.
All right. That was Ollie. I didn't do it.
I thought you did Edwin.
Edwin Jackson?
I don't know if Edwin Jackson pitched for. Did he pitch for the Astros?
Feels like he
did not.
Everybody.
He did not.
Wow.
I think it's a 14-team grid. Someone made a grid where you have to get the entire thing, but you can't use Edwin Jackson. But he does fill every single one of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Edwin Jackson, Dodgers, Rays, Tigers, D-backs, White Sox, Cardinals, Nats, Cubs, Braves, Marlins, Padres, Orioles, A's, Blue Jays.
That's crazy.
Blue Jays. So we got our grid. We got our fucking
get ready
Mets.
to do a lot more of these, boys, because the second half is not great.
Gotta believe.